Don't you look so cute? Wow, you look like a princess, Sophie. You just need a crown. I just loved playing dress up with Sophie. Even though she's a panda, she is my best friend. My name is Sue, and I'm from China. If you want to know more about my pandas, hidden treasure, and my life story, click the like button. And also don't forget to subscribe. Believe it or not, my whole family has dedicated their lives to protecting these pandas. We crash-landed here ages ago. My parents loved me a lot, but sometimes I felt they were so secretive, especially about the locked treasure chest they have hidden away.
Sue, it's time for your math class. We are learning divisions today.
Come on, Sophie, time for school. Mom teaches me every day from home, and I love all my subjects since Mom makes it so much fun to learn.
Should we count berries or cocoa beans for our math lesson today?
Cocoa beans. Going to school with a panda meant I had to count fast. Sometimes the lessons were over before they started. The bell was our alarm system. Whenever there were hunters in the village, Dad rang the bell. Mom ran out, and I followed behind her.
Shaw, take Sue inside.
But I want to come too.
You know how this goes, Sue. Your dad and I will be back as always.
My parents protected all pandas in the forest, and I wanted to do the same. So this time, I decided to follow them. The forest did a great job of protection with natural defenses, but it wasn't enough. As I hid behind the bushes, I accidentally stepped on a stick. I tried to duck away from Mom's stick, but eventually she got me, and I squealed. Mom, it's me!
Sue, I told you to stay in the house.
But I wanted to see how you catch the hunters.
Sue, you could have gotten hurt. You need to listen to us. This can get very dangerous, and our pandas need our help.
Then teach me. What if you get sick or something? Who's going to help the pandas then?
Sue, it's just too dangerous.
Sophie's family? Are you saying I shouldn't take care of my family? You take care of me. What if you need me someday, but I'm not ready? I was not one to give up. So, eventually, my parents decided to give me a chance and started training me. Arrgh! Why can't I get this right?
Patience, Sue.
I kept failing at getting it right, but with my parents' support, I became a pro at setting up traps after a few months.
Go.
I memorized each movement in my mind, and I had practiced so much, my body knew what to do. After a couple of months, the hunters didn't stand a chance. I cut the rope, the net fell, and bang, I caught him.
Wow, you even beat us.
Well done, Sue.
I felt so good about myself. Finally, my parents believed in me, and we were a team. After that day, my parents finally showed me what's in the chest, and I was amazed when they showed me a treasure map.
Sue, now that you are old enough, I think it's time we told you how we ended up living here.
Before you were born, your mom and I owned an antique shop. One day, we found this map, stuffed into an ancient vase. Some very bad people knew we had it, and they've been looking for it and us for years.
Cool. When are we going on a treasure hunt?
We've been waiting for you to grow up and be strong enough for the hike.
We think you're ready.
I sat gazing at this map, daydreaming about the moment we would finally find the treasure. I should have known that wherever there's treasure, there's also trouble. That night, I was startled awake by the warning bell. My parents were standing at the balcony, looking worried. And then I went to see what it was. All the pandas were gathered around our treehouse, which meant that they were scared.
We really need you to stay here this time. Understand?
But you showed me how to get hunters. I want to help.
This is something else. I've never seen them act this way. You must stay inside. Keep Sophie safe.
Mom paused for a moment and looked at me with tears in her eyes and blew me a kiss before she left.
I love you, Sue.
The next day, Sophie and I waited and waited for my parents, but they never came back. Yeah, me too. Days went by, and it was just me and Sophie. I was angry and worried at the same time. Why didn't they come back? All the food we had was gone. Sophie started sniffing for food and suddenly ran out of the house. Sophie, what is it, girl? Do you smell something? Mom? Dad? This is Mom's jacket. Where are you guys? Sophie and I suddenly heard voices. Come on, Sophie, we have to hide. there were more hunters. I was wondering how I could trap them and if they had seen my parents, when suddenly I spotted this gorgeous boy with features like Hercules. The boy kept taking pictures of trees and bushes, and then he got closer to where Sophie and I were hiding, so I pricked him on his leg with a thorn.
Ow!
Benjamin, what is it?
Yeah, it was just a thorn. I'm gonna take some more pictures at the riverside. I'll meet you at the camp.
I saw the boy moving away from the group and decided to follow him. And just maybe, he might know where Mom and Dad were. I climbed up a tree and watched him flash his camera until he flashed at me, startled, slipped, and came tumbling down right on top of him. Ah! Up close, he looked so fine, but then I remembered my parents. What do you people want from my forest?
Your forest? Ow, what's your problem?
Go back to your own territory.
Hey, relax. We're just here on a tour.
Just as the boy took one step towards me, my panda crew appeared, and his face turned pale. Not so brave now, are we?
Aren't you scared?
Nope, but you and all your people should be, unless you want to be our supper. Good one. It wasn't until we chased him off that I remembered I should have asked him about my parents. Not so good after all. After all that drama, my throat felt dry. So I went to the waterfall to grab some water, only to find a girl picking the wrong type of berries. And just as she was about to place one in her mouth, I leaped like a leopard and tumbled onto her, saving her from being poisoned.
Ah! Get off me! What is wrong with you, you stupid girl? Now my dress is all muddied up.
A little thank you would be nice.
Ladies, what's going on here?
This cow jumped on me for nothing. Look at my dress.
This cow just saved your life, you ungrateful monkey. Those berries were poisonous.
Whatever, I'm telling Dad.
I was surprised by her behavior. The bratty girl just walked off without even apologizing. But the handsome boy stayed behind.
Look, we come in peace, and we won't do anything to harm your forest, I promise.
Wait, she won't hurt you, as long as you do come in peace. I tried to squeeze my stomach to make it stop grumbling, but I was super hungry, since all the food in the house had run out.
You can join us for supper if you like. There's plenty to eat. Please?
Since the boy was literally begging me to eat their food, I decided to go with him. Plus, Sophie wouldn't take no for an answer.
So, what's your name, and what are you doing out here all by yourself?
Oh, I'm never really alone. My parents taught me never to give my real name away, so I quickly thought of this famous singer Dad always bragged about, Michael Jackson. My name is Michael Jackson.
Okay, Michael Jackson.
I wanted to ask him right away about my parents, but something just didn't feel right. Timing was way too coincidental with them showing up, so I thought I'd check out the camp first, before asking. While I dined with Benjamin's people, I felt a little awkward as I kept looking for signs of my parents. Then, his father started questioning me.
You seem a little nervous, Michael Jackson. So, where are you from?
From the south?
Are you sure? And your parents? They work around here?
Yes, all around here, mostly. I tried to keep my answers very short, and then I saw Dad's ring on the man's finger. My head started spinning, so I quickly excused myself. Sorry. Excuse me while I go to the loo. When I was away from the table, I started panicking, but I had to be brave for my parents. And then I saw some movement inside of one of the tents. I bravely approached the tent and looked inside, and was shocked to see my parents all tied up. Mom? Dad?
Sue! Oh, thank goodness.
I quickly started untying them, but the ropes were so tight.
Hurry up, Sue, before they come.
But I was too late. Benjamin entered.
What are you doing in here?
Stay away from me! You and your people took my parents.
No! I swear I had nothing to do with this. I am as surprised as…
Steve appeared behind Benjamin, and then his bodyguards gagged and tied him up.
This is turning out to be a nice little anti-family reunion.
What do you want from us?
Just the treasure map. Bring it to me, and I'll let your parents go. Guards, escort Sue out, and get rid of Benjamin.
But he's your son.
My brother's son. So I don't need him anymore, since his trust fund is all drained out. Now let's see about getting that treasure map, shall we?
I gave the map to the greedy old man, thinking he would give me my mom and dad back. I had a lot to learn about bad people. Here's your map. Give me back my parents.
In good time. Now you will take us to the treasure.
But you said after I give you the map, you would let my parents go.
I don't like repeating myself. Take us to the treasure.
We had been walking for many hours following the map. Then we heard Mimi screaming her lungs out, running towards us. Right behind was the king panda of the forest. He was a huge, angry, and snarling panda thundering up the trail. I instantly knew what we had to do. Run! Eventually, we lost King Panda, and we reached a place where there were 3 mountains in a high valley. We had to consult the map again. I think this is where the treasure is, in the middle cave.
Daddy, you were going on a treasure hunt and you didn't think of taking me? Hey, where's Benjamin?
Don't worry about it. We're rich now. And with all that treasure, I'm going to buy you the biggest mansion ever.
Mimi very quickly forgot about Benjamin and skipped ahead, thinking about the big mansion her father was going to buy her after stealing our treasure. You want me to go first? Make sure there's no...
Out of my way. Come on, Mimi. Let's take a look at our new treasure.
It's mine. I saw it first.
At this point, I was not surprised. I just could not understand how someone could act like that. And if this is what treasure did for people, I knew I didn't want any part of it.
Look what I found.
Look what I found.
Taking advantage of all the interest in the treasure, I started running back to camp to free my parents. I had only just started when I heard blood-curdling screams. I knew it couldn't be good. At first, I thought they were running from a monster, but when I saw their faces, they didn't look scared. They looked angry.
You tricked us. Where is my treasure?
Wow, this looks interesting. How to start your own organic farm.
You stupid girl. Where is my treasure? Or I swear I'll...
Haven't you ever heard that one man's trash is another man's treasure?
Steve was so angry, and he was making it my fault. I felt so overwhelmed until I saw Benjamin walk to us with a group of men dressed in blue.
Next time when you throw your son in the ditch, maybe take his cell phone away when you do it. Officers, arrest this trash.
The bad man and his bratty daughter were taken away, and then Benjamin hugged me, and I felt safe again.
I'm so sorry about all this.
My parents, are they okay?
Yes, they are waiting for you back at camp.
As my parents and I were going through the treasure box with all the treasure, Mom found a letter inside one of the books.
Hey, look at this.
We read the letter together, which was dated a few decades ago.
Dear kindred spirit, congratulations on finding the treasure trove. Knowledge is power. If you want to change the world, read these books. Then keep on reading. Read everything you can. Learn, grow. Your mind is your treasure. These books are one-of-a-kind personal insights from a lifetime of exploration. They will serve you well.
The letter was signed by someone named Einstein, and we all wondered if it could be the Einstein.
You heard the man. Pick one and start reading.
While reading, Benjamin popped by and addressed my parents.
I'd like to know if I can take Sue Michael Jackson on a date in the city. I have a helicopter waiting outside.
Sue Michael Jackson.
A helicopter?
After the police took the bad people away, Benjamin went back to the city. He found out that his father left a will for him, a will his uncle didn't know about. So he became a millionaire overnight.
Just bring her back safely.
Wait, let me fix her hair first.
Perfect. I held on to Benjamin's arm and went out on my first date in a helicopter. I was super excited. So where are we going?
We are going out for pizza.
Perfect. I love pizza. What is pizza? As Benjamin and I made our way, my parents stood waving along with our panda family. And as I stood there watching my family, I realized I already had the best treasure in the world, family. And nothing could ever take that away.
Turn around, sweetie. Yes, just like that.
Can I go now, Daddy?
Just a few more shots, honey. We are almost done.
Hi, my name is Tasha, and this is the story of my crazy life. From the moment I was born, I was doomed. My parents set their eyes on me and saw nothing but a beautiful baby they could use to make lots of bucks with. They signed me onto a modeling agency as soon as I could walk, and I wasn't allowed to do much else than pose for crazy photos all the time.
I'm hungry, Mom. Can you stop the stupid photos and give me some food?
That was my older sister by 1 year, Morgan. For some reason, I didn't understand then why she was always super angry. She threw tantrums anytime she was present during my photo shoots.
Oh, Morgan, just a little more. We need to have perfect shots for your cute sister.
Suddenly, I felt something cold all over the front of my beautiful dress. I looked down to see the mango juice Morgan had been sipping all over my body.
Morgan, why would you do that?
I'm hungry. She's making me wait.
That's it. You're grounded, young lady.
I couldn't even be angry with her because her actions successfully ended the photo shoot. But over time, my sister just continued to be a big meanie.
Oh, look, Bimbo is reading. Are you even allowed to do that?
Stop that! And I am not a bimbo.
But guess what? That's what girls like you who don't know anything else but twist around like a snake for a camera are known as.
You just can't accept that I am pretty as well as smart. Just then, Morgan jumped at me and we began to fight like cats. Thankfully, my mom came and separated us.
Oh my god. Morgan, look at the big gash you got on your sister on her face. Go into your room and don't come out until you are ready to say sorry.
Morgan never did, and my parents had to give up and let her out or else she'd starve. At school and everywhere else, everyone was the same way as my parents about my looks. People would stare at me and sing praises for my looks.
What a cute button nose!
Look at her skin. How clear.
Hi, can I take a picture? I would love you to be my screensaver.
My life seemed to be constantly in the spotlight, and it annoyed me to no end. Fact was, by the time I turned 12, I was more than certain that being a model wasn't what I wanted to be. But Mom and Dad wouldn't hear of it. They had me doing so many different modeling shoots and campaigns that school was beginning to take a back seat. My parents wouldn't even let me eat any junk food, so I didn't get fat.
Oh, honey, a hamburger? Throw it away right now. It's greasy and will ruin your skin.
One hamburger won't hurt, Mom.
A flood starts with a drop of rain, dear. Listen to your mother and throw that away.
You can give it to Morgan.
Oh yes, throw it into the dustbin, otherwise known as me.
My turning point came when I turned 13. Mom and Dad threw a big party for me, but when I unveiled the cake, my jaw dropped to the ground. A freaking watermelon! Instead of the yummy cake I was expecting, my parents got a watermelon.
Honey, a cake is nothing but a trap full of calories. This is much healthier and…
Embarrassed tears filled my eyes and I cut her off. I am done! I'm not doing this anymore! This modeling stuff, I hate it! I've had enough! To their horror, I grabbed the knife I was supposed to use to cut the watermelon and sliced off a chunk of my hair.
Oh my god, she finally lost it. Her hair is like a duck's butt.
My parents and the other guests were still speechless with shock, but I ignored them and went to my room where I shaved off all of my hair. The next day, I came downstairs wearing the baggiest clothes ever. My parents begged me like their lives depended on it with a truckload of cake.
Dear, you could eat all the cake in the world you want. It's okay if you get fat. You're still pretty. And there are fat models.
I will eat all the cake in the world, but I am never going back to modeling. I want to be a doctor, Dad.
A doctor? Oh dear, you will be touching blood and stuff. No. Please reconsider. If it's the hair, you could wear a wig.
Nope, no way. Mind made up.
Don't worry, Mom. I'll be your new model.
My eyes almost fell out of their sockets when we turned to look at Morgan. She was dressed in one of my designer clothes, hair made into a tight braid, and face full of makeup.
Is that you, Morgan?
The makeup helped a lot, but who knew you had it in you?
I felt sorry for Morgan with the way my parents rushed over to her, taking pictures of her and asking her to turn this way and that. Morgan caught my eye and smirked as if she had won a trophy. Well, I certainly wasn't jealous. I was free as a bird. I wore wigs to school till I got to the 10th grade. Then I convinced my parents to transfer me to another school so I could really start afresh. Morgan insisted she switch schools with me just to show off, and my parents agreed. She was in the 11th grade.
Watch how I become the queen of our new school. No one will even notice you.
Honestly, that would be a relief. I'd appreciate the break for once. Go ahead.
Shut up, you four-eyed baldy.
Actually, my scalp was full of hair now, but Morgan kept calling me a baldy. I had also taken to wearing glasses just to disguise myself further. I ignored her and focused on my studies. At my new school the next day, I was surprised to see that no one seemed to recognize me. A few glances came my way, but no one tried to suffocate me asking for autographs. Students, however, flocked to Morgan, who was by now a fast rising model, and she soaked in the attention.
Hi, I'm a big fan of yours. Can we take a selfie?
Well, since you are a fan, I will grant you that privilege.
I was really happy to be out of the spotlight at school and hurried off to my class.
Class, this is our new student. Her name is Tasha.
Oh no, I couldn't let the class know my full name. Tasha Smart! My name is Tasha Smart. The teacher shot me a weird look for taking my family name, but thankfully he kept quiet. I threw myself into my books, thwarting any attempts from anyone to befriend me. But after 2 weeks in my new school, I met someone who stole my breath. I was coming out of the library when I ran smack into someone. When I got a look at him, I gasped. He looked like all these hot male characters from my favorite animes.
I know I am hot, but can you try not to bump into me next time you want me to notice you?
What?
Girls, very desperate set of creatures.
Every atom of attraction I felt for him died on the spot with his rudeness. Well, not every atom per se. At home, I couldn't stop thinking about the handsome guy I bumped into. I was struggling to focus on my studies when my sister barged into my room.
You witch! What were you doing with my Nick?
What are you talking about?
My minions saw you with him at the library. They said you were about to kiss him.
Oh, so the rude guy from earlier is Nick. Do your friends know you call them minions?
Doesn't matter. They will still worship me regardless. Stay away from Nick. He's in my class, and he's mine.
I felt my eyebrow tick in annoyance, but I forced myself to be calm. I wasn't going to let my sister rile me up and distract me from my studies. In school, my grades were getting really high, and teachers and students alike began to notice me for it. It was much better than being noticed for something as superficial as beauty.
Hey, Tasha, you're so brilliant. Would you want to take part in a science competition?
What? That was the ticket to achieving my dreams faster! I quickly said yes!
Great. You will be studying with our other brilliant student, Nick.
Nick! It turned out that prior to me coming to the school, Nick was the one excelling most in school. He looked me over when I met him in the library as instructed by the teacher. Gosh, he really was so handsome.
Ugh, not again. Go away! Shoo, I'm expecting someone. No time for fangirls.
And very rude. Unfortunately for you, Nick, I am the one you are expecting. And no, I am no fangirl of yours. You seem to be so desperate for one that you pin the title on any girl unfortunate enough to bump into you. That shut him up, and he finally focused on the task we had together. But truly, Nick was popular amongst the girls. Even at the library, girls would hardly let him breathe in peace, but Nick knew just how to give it to them.
Oh, Nick, could you check my temperature? I think I'm running a fever.
I believe you know where the first aid room is. Or are you blind too? Nick, there is a spider on my desk. Please come and save me. Spiders make good seatmates.
He was actually funny, and at a point I couldn't help but start laughing at his attitude with the pestering girls. No wonder he seemed to hate me from the start. When we were done studying, I turned to pack up, but Nick stopped me.
Tasha, I'm sorry about earlier. I just made my usual assumption about a girl, which, by the way, hadn't failed me until now. Can I apologize by taking you out for ice cream?
Oh boy, could today get any better? I pretended to consider it for a moment, so as not to give him the impression of being all over him. I can spare some minutes. I think I have done all the studying I need for today. He smiled, and I almost fainted. He had dimples! How much prettier could a boy get?
Let's go.
When I went back home, Morgan was fuming.
You? How dare you go out on a date with Nick?
I just went to get ice cream with him. It wasn't a date.
But you would like it to be right? You love him, don't you?
Like I was going to answer that. Can you just leave me alone? You're a model now. Aren't you happy? Sure, she wasn't a big shot model like I was before, but I thought she would finally be off my back to at least be one. Instead, she seemed to be getting more and more frustrated.
Oh, just you wait. I'm only just starting. I have a modeling gig by next month, and if I bag this, I will win millions of dollars and I will make sure you don't get a penny. I bet you this. When I become a big shot model, even guys like Nick would beg to date me.
With all my heart, I wish you the best. Nick and I continued studying together, and we kept drawing closer together. One day, we were going through some chemical formulas together when his phone beeped. He opened it and gasped.
Tasha, is this you?
My mouth went dry when I saw the picture he was showing me. It was one of my pictures as a model from an unsaved number I quickly identified as Morgan's.
You are Tasha Williams, the famous model who suddenly went MIA.
I quit for a reason, Nick. Can you bring your voice down?
Why did you quit?
I didn't want to be a model, okay? I love maths and science. I want to study and become a doctor. Walking on runways, staying up to date with the latest fashion, and not eating what I love for fear of getting fat. It's just not what I wanted. I want to live a life like a normal girl.
Whoa.
I know I'm not as fancy or fashionable as when I was a model, but I will never go back to that. To my surprise, he beamed at me.
Trust me, I completely understand. It must not have been easy to quit.
It definitely wasn't.
Tell me about it.
I began to tell him the crazy drama that took place when I quit, and Nick laughed all the way through, especially when I told him about the watermelon cake. Morgan's attempt to break us up actually backfired, and soon we started dating. His personality was much better than what I had previously thought of him, and so when he asked me to be his girlfriend, I said yes. Soon, the competition came around. We answered question after question, and we were declared winners. We won for our school. Mom, Dad, I won the competition! Nick and I won!
Oh, honey, aren't you the prodigy? Winning everything you set your mind to. I'm so proud of you.
If only Morgan would be the same. She lost the gig we worked hard to get her. I am sure you would have won if it was you.
It was then that I noticed Morgan in the corner, and she looked like she'd been crying. But when our eyes met, she clenched her jaw and ran to her room. Mom, Dad, I think you owe Morgan an apology. She worked so hard to impress you, but you're always letting her down. Stop comparing her to me. My parents immediately looked remorseful. I will talk to Morgan. I followed Morgan to her room, and she was sobbing like I had never seen before.
Why am I such a big loser? You've stopped modeling. You wear the ugliest clothes and nerdy glasses. You're not as popular as I am now yet. You're so happy, and I'm not. Even the school's prince is always hanging out with you. You're pretty, you're smart. What am I supposed to do?
But Morgan, you are pretty and smart too. Boys fall over themselves for you. Or does it have to be Nick? Do you really like him, or is it because you noticed I do?
Because I noticed you do.
You see, you're always competing with me. If you can focus on yourself and think of what really makes you happy, I am sure you will see a big difference.
Oh, I think you're right. Truth be told, I really hate this modeling stuff.
Finally, something we have in common.
I'm sorry, Tasha. I've been a horrible sister. You deserve every good thing because you're so hardworking. Can you forgive me?
Trust me, I have never had a grudge against you. We hugged each other tight. What do you say we watch some Storytime animated videos to pass the time?
Sounds like fun.
Hi, I'm Sarah, and I was born in the beautiful town of Woodmead. I loved it there because we were surrounded by people who knew and loved us. I was 5 years old when we spent our last Christmas there, opening gifts with my cousins.
Look, I got a jewelry box with a little ballerina. I know how much you love ballet, so Mom let me get it for you.
The gifts were great, but it was about having all of our family and friends around that made me love Christmas. But about a month later, my parents started acting so weirdly.
Put on this wig and sunglasses. We're going on a little trip.
But why do I have to wear this, Mom?
We're going to play pretend. You can even choose a new name for yourself.
Ballet shoes. I want to be called Ballet Shoes.
And ever since then, we've never been back to Woodmead, not even to see family. I was homeschooled, and I wasn't allowed to speak to anyone. When I was around 10, I got so sick and tired of our life, I ran out the gates and into the forest.
Sarah! Sarah! I'll only come out when you tell me that we can go back to our old home.
But this is our new life, honey. I thought you'd be used to it by now.
How can anyone get used to living like an alien? Every time we go out, we all wear wigs and change our names. I'm tired of it. Take me back to see my cousins and friends.
Mom eventually found me behind the tree and carried me back home. I was so angry at my parents, but they never heard me out. And then one day, when I was 14, they were watching the news and the reporter was talking about fugitives.
Are we fugitives? Is that why we can't talk to anyone?
No, honey, we are actually.
Dad was about to tell me what the real deal was, but Mom stopped him to tell me the greatest news, and I forgot about the fugitive thing.
I've got good news for you. You can start going to real school.
But on one condition, you can't make friends or speak to anyone.
I was so excited to finally get out of the house, so I didn't worry much about the terms and conditions. On my first day of school, I was so excited, but it soon wore off. As I walked down the school corridor, I noticed everyone staring at me. They whispered as I walked by, but I knew I couldn't speak, so I just rushed to my class. When I got into the class, the teacher smiled at me strangely and introduced me to the class.
Class, this is Sarah. Do you remember me telling you about her?
The teacher suddenly started speaking to me like she had a speech problem.
Welcome to class, Sarah.
I thought it would be different at school, but I still felt like an alien. Everyone acted so strange. When I got home, Mom and I started dinner, then Dad came home.
How are my favorite girls?
You're only girls.
Dinner's ready. Let's eat. Then it's game night and Dad gets to choose.
How was school today, Pumpkin? Talk to anyone?
No, Dad. I didn't talk to anyone.
What's the matter, sweetie?
Today at school, all the kids were staring and whispering, as if something was wrong with me. And then when I got to class, the teacher spoke to me so slowly.
You were new there, sweetie. Everything will seem strange.
That doesn't make any sense.
At least you're around other kids, right?
I guess.
I couldn't stop thinking about how strange everyone acted. After dinner, I didn't feel like playing any games, so I went straight to bed. Months went by, and I was still the quiet weirdo at school with no friends. Soon, everyone started talking about Christmas gifts.
Hey, who do you have to get a gift for?
I'm not telling. It would ruin the whole surprise.
All right, everyone. Here are the science results.
This was my favorite subject, and whenever I got an A+ on my tests, kids would be jealous and pick on my muteness.
I wonder how the mute girl gets 100% all the time.
Maybe she's the teacher's favorite because she's so quiet.
After they were done talking, I walked past their table and let out a smelly, soft gas right next to the tables.
Ew, I think I'm going to vomit. What's that disgusting smell?
I smiled and walked out of the class, feeling good about my sweet revenge. Later that night, while I sat reading, Mom and Dad watched the news again. And then suddenly, I heard that fugitive word again.
Mom, Dad, I know I've asked before, but are we fugitives?
Well, sweetie, it's like this.
No, sweetie, we're not. Fugitives are usually on the run because they've done something bad.
Have we done something bad?
No, sweetie.
Can we talk about something happier, please?
The kids at school are going to exchange gifts for Christmas.
Oh, that reminds me. We need to plan for our annual party.
We're the only ones that are going to be there, Dad. Some party that will be.
My parents didn't understand. I wished so badly to have a friend my age, just to talk to. A week later, I think my wish came true because a new girl joined our class and she kept glaring at me and I just kept smiling back.
Class, this is Alia. She is new here. I want you all to be nice.
Alia sat down and didn't seem to mind that I didn't speak.
Hello.
I just smiled and waved back. She smiled back and I had such an urge to open my mouth and say, "Can we be friends, please?" And then during recess, while I sat all by myself as usual, Alia came and sat with me.
Hi again. Do you mind if I sit here?
I smiled and nodded again. She must have thought I was a crazy person, all this smiling and nodding. But she really didn't mind, since she kept coming back. After a few weeks of listening to Alia, I could tell why she didn't have any other friends. She was a motor mouth.
Hey, Sarah, how was your weekend? My mom took me to get a dress for the Winter Wonderland dance, and then we went to this beautiful museum. It was so much fun. I even got this really cool glow stick and a chain and a bracelet and this awesome nightlight. It makes all the items at the museum show on the walls at night and…
I smiled and waited for the rest of Alia's story, but then she said something that I couldn't keep quiet about.
Oh, how I wish you didn't have that speech disorder. I so want to know how your weekend went. Just imagine if…
I shouted out before Alia could complete her sentence.
Speech disorder? Who told you I have a speech disorder?
The principal. Your parents told him just so the other kids wouldn't pick on you. I was so mad I could have screamed again, but the others were coming in. The teacher continued with the lesson, but I wasn't paying attention. I obeyed my parents, and now I find out they lied about why I didn't speak. It was time for me to return the favor.
Okay, class. Today is book reading day. Does anyone want to go first? Thank you, Sarah. You can leave your book on my desk.
But instead, I started reading my book fluently. The teacher in the class stared at me in amazement, and then one of the girls stood up and shouted,
"She can speak! It's a miracle!"
I couldn't contain myself and burst into a fit of giggles. The rest of the class followed along. During recess, all the kids surrounded me like I was a celebrity, wanting to hear me speak. Alia eventually came to my rescue.
Okay, guys, give Sarah a break. She just found her voice. We don't want her to lose it again.
Yeah, guys, Alia's right. She never gets tired of talking, so you're welcome to stay and listen to her. Be warned, though, she doesn't have a stop button or even a pause. We all laughed. It felt amazing to be part of the class and not left out anymore. And all the kids were so accepting.
I'm glad I caught you before you left.
Oh, I'm sorry. I hope it's not about the joke I made during recess. It was honestly just a joke. I love that you are so talkative. And no, I wasn't offended. I wanted to know if you have a partner for the Christmas gift-giving day. I almost forgot about that. No, I don't. Great, then we can get gifts for each other. Things were really looking great for me at school until I got home. Dad was sitting on the couch, looking very serious.
Dad, are you all right? Mom didn't speak to me at all on the way home. Is everything okay?
The principal of your school called us this morning.
My heart sank. I knew what was coming.
He said that everyone was calling it a miracle that you are speaking.
Well, how long were you going to keep this from us? And don't stutter. You're a walking miracle to your friends.
Yes, Mom, friends. For the first time in a long time, I felt accepted and part of the group. I won't apologize for that.
You watch your tone, young lady. We are still your parents.
I have to wonder.
What is that supposed to mean?
You lied to the principal that I couldn't speak because of a speech disorder. How could you do that? And what about taking me away from all the people we loved and making me dress like someone else? Sometimes I don't even know who I am or where I belong. And who wants their child to be a mute at school and not have any friends?
Everything we do is to keep you safe.
Safe from what? A bunch of teenagers?
Enough. Go to your room.
Ugh, Mom and Dad were being so unfair, and I felt like an animal stuck in a cage. The next morning, I went to the kitchen and Mom and Dad were there. I ignored them, but they looked so sad.
We're sorry about last night, sweetie. We understand that we have been hard on you.
And to make it up to you, we're going to let you be a part of the Christmas gift exchange. We just have to get a gift from the mall.
Whoa, Alia was right. I did find my voice. Mom and Dad actually heard me out last night. When we got to the mall, I was so excited to look for a gift for Alia.
Okay, remember, no wandering off, all right?
Yes, Mom, I know. Mom and Dad were being so cool. We got the gift and we had lunch, then played games at the arcade. I was so exhausted by the time I got to the car that I fell fast asleep.
Wake up, Sleepy. We're home.
I felt like I slept for hours, but I couldn't have because when Mom woke me, she said we were home. The only thing was, this wasn't home. The more I looked around, the more confused I was.
Mom, Dad, where are we?
This is our new home.
No, it's not. I want to go home.
Sarah, please. You're acting like a baby.
Stop treating me like one. The moment I get close to anyone, you move across the state. What is wrong with you?
I was so upset. I ignored Dad when he tried to explain. He left with Mom to move our things into his new house, while I sat in the car. Then he came over to me.
Sarah, are you all right?
No, Dad. I can't do this anymore. It may have been fun when I was little. Not anymore.
Okay, it's late. We should head inside. Tomorrow we see the new school. What do you say, sweetie?
I say no!
Eventually, I gave in and started in the new school.
For this next experiment, I want you to pair up.
After the teacher gave his instructions, Lincoln approached me. He was this guy that no one paid attention to since he dressed like a goth.
Well, looks like that's you and me.
He did the exact opposite of what the teacher said and started pouring yellow liquid into the beaker.
Relax, you'll see. And this goes in next.
And the next thing I knew, we were covered in green goop that exploded all over us.
Oops, I guess I heard wrong.
We were sent to get cleaned up, and as we walked, Lincoln talked and talked.
So, what's your story? I heard that you can't speak. Were you born without a tongue or something?
It felt like deja vu, and I was so angry at my parents for spreading this lie again, so I just told Lincoln the truth.
I have a tongue, so you can squash your crazy theory. I just can't make friends.
Wow, you're actually good at it. Talking, I mean. You know, it might help you make friends.
You think I don't know that? Before I knew it, I had told Lincoln my whole sad story. I felt good getting it off my chest, and I didn't take Lincoln for a gossip. But when I got to school the next day, I realized I was wrong about him.
What's it like having fugitive parents?
Excuse me?
Have you always been on the run?
Then I knew Lincoln gossiped. When I found him, I let him have it.
How could you? I never said we were fugitives!
I must have heard wrong.
I felt like shaking Lincoln so he would hear straight, but then this monster of a girl came at me from nowhere. I managed to move out of her way just before she could ram me.
You leave my brother alone, or else I won't miss next time. Your brother is a gossip.
Jess, it's all right. I'm fine. See?
Jessica didn't hear Lincoln. She took a swing at me, but couldn't land it because someone grabbed her arm. The principal was the one that grabbed Jessica's arm. It turns out this wasn't the first time she got into trouble trying to defend Lincoln.
I just got a final warning and 2-week suspension because of you.
Well, at least you get to come back.
I didn't care who Jessica blamed. I was just so mad at Lincoln. He turned out to be such a jerk.
When I went into the office, the principal left and my mom and dad were there. Immediately, my defenses went up.
Are you all right?
Yeah, Mom, I'm all right.
We shouldn't have pressured you. We only thought about keeping you safe, and not how this might make you feel.
I didn't expect this. I was so used to fighting Mom and Dad by now, I didn't know what to say. So I cried.
I'm so sorry. I should have listened. Now look what's happened because I couldn't keep quiet. It's all right, sweetie. I should have told you from the start. We're in a witness protection program. Your dad and I testified against some hardened criminals, and we couldn't risk them finding you. Oh, Mom, I'm so sorry I never trusted you.
I think it's time we go home.
When we got home, I saw that Mom and Dad had packed. This was something I should have expected. Okay, we're all set.
Ready, sweetie?
Yes, Dad. Dad loaded the car, and we set off. I wondered about the next town.
You should get comfy, sweetie. We're in for a long drive.
Where are we headed?
Home, sweetie. Home.
I soon fell asleep. I woke up when I felt the car stop. We were parked outside our old house in Woodmead. I didn't understand. I thought we weren't safe here. Mom, Dad, what are we doing here?
I told you we were going home.
Those bad people I told you about, they have finally been sent to prison.
It was Christmas, and we were all together, just like when I was little. But I had to do something very important. Mom, Dad, can we go for one last trip?
Okay, but it's Christmas.
I know, but I promised someone that I would buy them a gift. My parents agreed, and I couldn't wait to get to our destination. When we finally arrived, I knocked on the snowflake-decorated door, and I was so happy to see Alia's face again.
Sarah? What are you doing here? I thought I would never see you again.
I came to give you your present. Alia immediately hugged me, almost crying. Thank you for remembering. This means a lot. I kept your present as well. This is what I loved most about Christmas. Not the gifts, but being able to make someone smile.